Hi everyone, this is Citlalli from the Mexica movement, and it's been a few days after the statements of Donald Trump have traveled the media. And basically, there's a couple of things that I wanted to point out regarding his statements. First of all, for those of our people who are still blind to the fact that the Latino concept is a complete colonial construction and a complete power tool used by colonialism to try to gather all the Spanish-speaking people into one category to maximize political profit, economic profit, and basically just completely ignore our individual and unique characteristics as non-white people. So keep in mind that Donald Trump didn't say Latino immigrants. He specifically targeted Mexican immigrants, okay? First of all, let's give this a historical background, okay? When he says Mexican immigrants, he is not talking about Latinos, right? A lot of our people and a lot of other people have come forward saying that he's attacking the Latino community. Well, the term Latino itself is not correct because we are not Southern Europeans, we are not Portuguese, we are not Romans, we are not Italians. Those are the people that are Latinos. So let's first get that right. Secondly, he is specifically targeting Mexicans, okay? Mexicans, those known as Mexican, born in Mexico, of Mexican descent, where we're really actually indigenous people. That's what we are, okay? This political national term that has defined us is Mexican. But we are indigenous people known as Mexicans, just like we are when we're called Central American, when we're called South American, when we're called Native American. We are an indigenous people. That's who he's addressing, okay? He's addressing Mexicans that are being sent from Mexico. In his view, in his discussion, in his rhetoric, calling us rapists, calling us violent, bringing in all these drugs, whatever he said. Now, keep in mind, again, that he is referring to the Mexican, what is known as the indigenous people known as Mexican, okay? And again, we just got, and we've known this, right? Because these studies are barely coming to light. But today, there was a news clip and talking about, and a lot of news circuits are covering this. There was a study that stated that white Americans are a bigger threat to American soil than any other group, right? The last terrorist attacks have not been by brown people, have not been by black people. The terrorist attacks on American soil have been by white people. So Donald Trump, why don't you address not the people that are being sent from Mexico, but the people that are being born here in this colonial country, who are manifesting themselves and their white supremacy in hate and terrorist acts of white supremacy? Why aren't you addressing that? Why aren't you talking about that the worst criminals, that the worst violence, that the worst rape cases have come from the descendants of the original Europeans who invaded us on October 12th of 1492? The acts of these white terrorists do not come out of nowhere. They don't just come out of random situations. No, this is a continuation of the colonial physical activities of white supremacy. Whether it's someone that's walking into a church to kill 9 Africans, whether it's the institution that continues to execute non-white people, whether it's the education system that continues to indoctrinate us with white supremacist standards of justice, of morality, of righteousness. That's the system that is being reflected in these last few weeks. So before you talk about Mexicans are rapists and Mexicans are violence, why don't you look at your own heritage? Why don't you look at the history of your people before pointing the finger to us? What are the facts? Where are your statistics? I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the statistics. The statistics of white supremacy, the statistics of white terrorism. It is being discussed and it is being exposed. So Donald Trump, I'm not here to justify. I'm not here to prove you wrong and talk about how hardworking my people are, how hardworking our people are, how our people rather sell flowers on the streets, on the street corners, than to be begging people with a sign asking for money. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not here how our people are the hardest working people, so-called immigrants that you call. Because you know what? I don't need to say that. We see it. You see it. Everyone sees it. I'm not here to tell you how we deserve to be here. Because you know what? We are on our own land. I'm not going to fight for something and claim something under your definition of who it belongs to. Because this is our land. We're hard workers. No shit. We developed original civilizations. We were the mathematical concept of zero and decimal point. We come from a great line of people, who worked, who fought, who continuously gave their life and sacrificed. That's where we come from. That's part of our culture of being hardworking, of being a dignified people. Now, you may choose not to see that, but it's obvious. What I recommend you, Donald Trump, is for you to look at your backyard. Your backyard. Check out the white terrorism that exists there. Check out all the deaths being caused by white supremacy. Again, whether it's someone that is completely announcing and declaring their white supremacist ideology, or whether it's a system, whether it's this complete colonial country that continues to persecute non-white people. So take that rhetoric somewhere else, Donald Trump, because you are a settler. You are the continuation of colonialism in our land. So whether you call us Mexicans, Central Americans, Native Americans, South Americans, you're talking about the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere. And you're talking about rape and violence and terrorism. Why don't you read American Holocaust by David E. Stannard? That is a great book that will tell you about the rape, that will tell you about the genocide, that will tell you about all these killings introduced to our continent through your system of white supremacy.